So last week's picks, admittedly, were kind of middle of the road. 7-7 in winners, 8-6 against the spread, but that's okay. For the season, 96-65 picking the winners, 88-71 versus the spread. So good performance, could be better, but most certainly could be a lot worse. Now, in terms of week 12, I've gotten off to a solid start, I guess you'd say. I was picking Minnesota to beat Detroit because Matthew Stafford-led teams don't beat good teams, even at home traditionally. So, of course, I'm going to go with the Vikings. Had the Redskins beating the Giants in the night game. He had them covering the 7. My miss, of course, was the Dallas Cowboys. For some reason, I thought they would beat the Chargers. I don't know why, and I won't make that mistake again. But starting off the week 2-1, I'm in an okay spot. Let's see how we do with the rest of the games. And we've got a full slate of 16 games, I believe, now, since all the bye weeks should have been exhausted. Let's see what we come up with this week, and let's see what you guys come up with. All right, Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 11.5. 11.5 is a big spread when the team at home isn't a great team. Like, I'm not sure even that Atlanta is a good team, but they're coming off of a nice win on the road against Seattle. And no question that Atlanta should be favored. I do feel like 11.5 is a big ask, but I will roll with the Atlanta Falcons here minus the 11.5. The Browns at 0-10, baby. You got 6 more to go. The skid marks need to march on to history. Taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals are favored by 9.5, which is a little surprising because they're not a very good team either. There's a part of me that thinks that Cleveland will cover the spread, but what the hell, I will still take Cincinnati minus the 9.5 because the Browns are just that bad. Tennessee travels to Indianapolis as 3-point favorites. Tennessee has had plenty of time to come and recover off of that blowout Thursday night loss last week against the Steelers. I think they'll be able to handle business in Indy. Give me Tennessee minus the 3. You've got Buffalo with Tyrod Taylor back as the starting quarterback. Woo! Taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I was really surprised to see the Chiefs as 10.5-point favorites. These are the same Chiefs that just lost to the frickin' Giants in overtime last Sunday. And I understand they're back home, but you're really going to discredit the Bills and Tyrod Taylor that much and make them 10.5-point dogs on the road? I think Kansas City gets back some momentum and wins this game, but Buffalo's got to be able to cover the 10.5. The Dolphins with Matt Moore traveled to New England to take on the Patriots. Last time I checked on the spread, New England was favored by 17.5. That's a massive number. It is a massive number. And I'm halfway tempted to go there. Oh, believe me, I think New England will win the game, but 17.5 is a really, really big ask. So give me the Dolphins to cover. I think Carolina goes to New Jersey to MetLife and handles the Jets. Carolina minus the 5. The Bears, unfortunately, the hits will keep on rolling. They got to go to Philly to take on the 9-1 Eagles and Carson Wentz. Hooray! Philly's favored by 14.5, as they should be. I'd expect them to cover that 14.5. In terms of the late Sunday games, you got the Seahawks, who are a little beat up and on shaky ground right now on the outside looking into the playoff race, going to San Francisco to take on a competitive 49ers team. I'm still surprised that C.J. Beathard is starting over Jimmy Garoppolo. How much time do you think Garoppolo really needs to learn your system? And if you felt like it was going to take this long, then why did you trade for him to begin with? I do wonder if this might be the game where we would see Garoppolo at some point in time, but it very well might not be. Seattle really desperately needs this game, and I expect them to win it. But just like the first go-round in Seattle, that was a close, competitive, kind of ugly game. I expect the 49ers to keep it close and cover the 7-point spread. I'll take the Raiders minus 4.5 over the Broncos. I'm not picking Paxton Lynch to win a game yet. Are you kidding me? I haven't even seen him. I'll take the Raiders. The featured game on Sunday afternoon, I think, has to be the Saints at 8-2 traveling to take on the 7-3 Los Angeles Rams. This should be an exciting, fun game. In theory, maybe it becomes one of those big shootouts. Who knows? But the Rams are favored by 0.5 point here. I know the Rams are coming off of a tough loss on the road last week to Minnesota, and the Saints have won 8 in a row. It feels like the Saints could win this game, but the Saints are still, to me, always better at home than they are on the road, even though some recent seasons hasn't indicated as such. I feel like the Rams really need this game, and they feel like they really need this game, so they'll be able to pull it out. So give me the Rams minus 0.5 point. Then you've got Jacksonville traveling to Arizona to take on a beat-up, broken-down Cardinals team. Give me Jacksonville minus the 5. Your Sunday night game, this ought to be a whiz-banger. The Packers traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers are 15-point favorites, as they probably should be in theory. The only thing I caution with that is that the Packers are not a very good team right now. And again, we know the history of the Steelers, even though it especially plays out true on the road. Sometimes it does at home too, is they really struggle to beat these bad to mediocre teams. So I'll pick Pittsburgh to win, but I will pick Green Bay to cover that 15-point spread. Because even with them shellacking the Titans last Thursday night, the Titans are at least an okay, adequate team. The Packers are not that. And again, this is traditionally where the Steelers struggle. If they cover that 15-point spread, then you really have to start looking at Pittsburgh and saying they might be the favorites to come out of the AFC for the Super Bowl and not the Patriots. Because it would have been one of the biggest flaws of their team they've now addressed, corrected, and fixed. That said, I do think Green Bay will find a way to cover the 15-point spread. And then Monday night, this ought to be a real snooze fest too. The Texans travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Yawn. The Ravens are favored by 8. I'll pick Baltimore to win. I'll pick Houston to cover the 8-point spread. I will probably pick and choose to not watch that game. I might not even watch much of that Sunday night game either. These look like stinkfest. Just saying. And we're now at week 12 of the season. We can't flush these games. We can't change these games. We can't do something different. Yikes. Anyways, that's my picks for this week. You're welcome to give me your picks in the comment section below. We'll see how things break down the rest of week number 12.